Listen to me. Your grind defines you. Not your dreams, not your intentions, not the things you say you're gonna do. Your grind. Because talk is cheap. But the grind is the truth. It exposes you really wants what you really want. It shows the world who you really are. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants the next level. Everybody wants that life they see in their mind. But the question is, what are you doing when the cameras are off? What are you doing when nobody is clapping for you? What are you doing at 4 a.m. when your body's saying to sleep, but your purpose saying to let's work? Your grind defines you because the grind is where character is built. It's where discipline is sharpened. It's where you learn that greatness is not a gift, it's earned. Every rep, every hour, every sacrifice is shaping you into the person you said you wanted to become. Some of you are waiting for motivation. You're waiting for the perfect moment. Hear me, grind anyway. Grind when you're tired. Grind when you're stressed. Grind when you're broke. Grind when you feel like nobody believes in you. Because the grind don't care about your feeling. The grind rewards your consistency. You want to know who you are? Look at your habits. Look at your discipline. Look at your routine. Look at what you do daily. That is you. Your grind is your signature. It's your identity. It's proof that you're serious about your purpose. And I'm telling you right now, the version of you you're dreaming about cannot exist without the grind you're avoiding. You don't get the crown without the sweat. You don't get the reward without the work. You don't get the results without relentless execution. So today, make a decision not to talk bigger, but to work bigger. Not to dream louder, but to grind harder. Let your grind speak so loud that you don't have to say a word. Let your grind be your resume. Let your grind be your identity. Let your grind be the reason you rise while others sleep, the reason you win while others quit. Because at the end of the day, your grind defines you. And if you grind like you want it, nothing can stop you. When I say your grind reveals your true priorities, I mean, it exposes what you truly value, even when you don't say a single word. People talk about wanting success, wanting to change their lives, wanting to elevate their family, wanting to live with purpose, but talk is effortless. It costs nothing. It's easy to say you want greatness, but the grind requires sacrifice, and sacrifice reveals truth. The truth of who you are, the truth of what you actually care about, the truth of whether your dreams are just fantasies or real commitments. When you look at someone's work ethic, you can see what matters to them without needing any explanation. You can hear their passion in their hours. You can read their intentions in their discipline. You can understand their purpose by watching how they work when no one is watching them. Think about it. If someone says their dream is important, but they never study, never practice, never improve, never wake up early or stay up late, then they don't value the dream the way they claim they do. The grind makes that obvious. Your daily actions expose what you're prioritizing. If you say you want to be successful, but you spend more time being distracted than disciplined, the grind shows that maybe comfort is your priority, or entertainment, or avoiding discomfort. But when your grind is consistent, when you sacrifice sleep for effort, when you say no to excuses and yes to growth, the grind becomes undeniable proof that your dream is real to you. Your priorities are shown every time you choose discipline over laziness, purpose over pleasure, growth over comfort. The grind doesn't lie. It's honest. If you put in the work, it's because you care. If you avoid the work, it's because you don't care enough. And this is why I say your grind reveals your priorities better than your words ever will. Your work ethic exposes the truth. Because you can tell others that your goals matter, but your grind tells the truth about whether they matter enough for you to act. People will often claim they want to be the best, but the best don't need to say they want to be the best. Their grind shows it. Their habits show it. Their routine shows it. You see somebody at the gym at 5 a.m. every morning while everyone else is asleep. That person doesn't need to announce their goals. The grind is their announcement. Someone studying for hours every single day. Someone perfecting their craft. Someone pushing their limits even when they're tired, even when they're stressed, even when they feel alone. You don't need to guess what their priorities are. You can see it. The grind becomes a language. It communicates hunger, discipline, and passion without needing a single sentence. It says, I want this. I'm serious about this. I'm committed to this. Louder than any motivation speech or emotional declaration ever could. The grind is the measurement of how much you truly want something. You can't grind for something you don't care about. And you can't fake grind. You can fake a smile. You can fake enthusiasm. You can fake confidence. But you can't fake the amount of work you put in. The grind is too demanding to be fake. Either you show up every day or you don't. Either you push yourself or you don't. Either you give your all or you don't. And that decision reveals who you are and what you value. If someone truly values their future, their grind will show it. They will invest time, energy, and effort even when nobody is pushing them. They don't wait for inspiration. They don't wait for perfect timing. They don't make excuses. You treat their goals like non-negotiables. They make sacrifices willingly because the grind aligns with what they value. When your priorities are real, your actions match your words. When your priorities are fake, your excuses match your habits. This is why grind is powerful. It is a mirror. It reflects your real priorities back at you. It shows you where your time is going, where your energy is going, where your commitment is going, And if you don't like what you see in that mirror, the grind gives you a chance to change it. Because you can always shift your priorities by shifting your actions. But make no mistake, your grind reveals the truth before you ever say a word. Consistency beats intensity because intensity can come from emotion, motivation, or a moment of excitement. But consistency comes from discipline, character, and long-term commitment. Anybody can work hard for a day, a week, or even a month. Anybody can have a burst of energy where they give everything they've got for a short period of time. But the people who reach greatness, the people who transform their lives, the people who elevate above average, they do it because they show up day after day, even when the excitement is gone, even when nobody is watching, even when the circumstances aren't comfortable. Consistency is what turns small actions into big results. It's the quiet force that builds mastery, routine, confidence, and momentum. People underestimate the power of doing something every single day, even if it's only for a short amount of time. A consistent hour every day, over months and years, becomes unstoppable. But working intensely for 1 week and quitting for 3 won't take you anywhere. The grind rewards those who are steady, not just those who are intense. Intensity feels good. It makes you feel powerful in the moment. It's the spark. But consistency is the fuel. Intensity gets you started, but consistency keeps you going when the spark dies. Because the truth is, the spark always dies. Motivation fades. Excitement fades. But disciplined consistency doesn't rely on feelings. It relies on commitment. It's waking up on days you don't feel like grinding and doing it anyway. It's pushing yourself on days your body says relax and your mind says quit. It's choosing progress over comfort every time. People are often fooled by the highlight reels they see on social media. They think success is created through big dramatic efforts, long sleepless nights, and extreme sacrifices. But what they don't see are the quiet mornings, the repetitive practice, the boring discipline, the unglamorous routines. They don't see the hundreds of hours nobody clapped for. The truth is, consistency is not flashy, it's not dramatic, and it's not impressive in the moment. But when you add it up, day after day, it becomes something powerful. It becomes unstoppable. Players don't become champions by training intensely once. They become champions by training consistently for years. Don't become experts by studying all night once. They become experts by studying consistently. Entrepreneurs don't build businesses by having one great idea. They build them by showing up every day, improving, adjusting, learning, and pushing forward. Consistency is the real test because it requires long-term focus. It forces you to learn patience. It teaches you to respect the process. It makes you understand that greatness isn't built overnight. It's built brick by brick, day by day through the grind that nobody celebrates. When you become consistent, you start to separate yourself from the crowd. Most people quit when it gets hard. Most people stop when motivation ends. Most people wait until they feel like it. But consistency means you show up even without feelings. You show up because you made a promise to yourself. Consistency also builds trust. Trust in yourself. When you show up every day, you begin to believe in your ability to follow through. Confidence doesn't come from shouting affirmations. It comes from repeated proof that you can rely on yourself. Every day you stay consistent, You strengthen the belief that you are capable, disciplined, and committed. Every day you show up, your identity shifts from someone who tries to someone who performs, from someone who wishes to someone who works, from someone who dreams to someone who executes. Intensity might impress people for a moment, but consistency inspires them. Intensity creates noise, consistency creates results, and results are the only thing that separates talkers from doers. When you adopt a consistent mindset, you stop needing to prove things to people because your results will speak louder than your words. Consistency makes you dangerous, not because you move fast, but because you never stop. Not because you shine once, but because you shine every day. The world can't ignore someone who refuses to quit, someone who shows up no matter what, someone who chooses discipline over excuses. You see, consistency beats intensity because intensity is temporary, but consistency is forever. The grind is where character, resilience, and discipline are formed because it forces you to confront the parts of yourself you usually avoid. When everything is easy, when life is comfortable, when everything is going your way, you don't discover who you truly are. You only see the surface version of yourself. But when you're in the grind, when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you're overwhelmed, when life hits you with pressure, you begin to see your real strength, your real limits, and your real potential. The grind exposes your weaknesses not to embarrass you, but to build you. It reveals your flaws so you can fix them, not hide from them. Character is not built during moments of comfort. Character is built in the dark hours, when you wake up early, even though your mind tells you to stay in bed, when you choose to keep pushing, even though your body is begging you to quit. Every time you choose effort over excuses, you strengthen your character. Every time you choose to show up when you don't feel like it, you increase your capacity to endure. This is how the grind shapes you. It teaches you to be committed instead of emotional. It teaches you to keep your word to yourself. It teaches you to stand tall when life tries to knock you down. Most people fold under pressure because they have avoided the grind. They've never allowed themselves to struggle long enough to grow. They've never put themselves in situations where resilience is required. But those who grind develop mental toughness because they repeatedly choose the harder path. And as a result, they become harder to break. Resilience is earned through repetition. You don't wake up resilient. You grow resilient by surviving challenges, by fighting through bad days, by pushing forward when things don't go your way. Every obstacle you overcome becomes a layer of strength. Every setback you push through becomes another piece of armor. The grind forces you to deal with failure, frustration, and fatigue. It's in those moments when quitting is the easiest option that resilience is built. You learn that failure isn't final, that struggle isn't permanent, that pain is at the end. The grind teaches you to adapt, to get up again, to try again, to keep going. That's how resilience is created. Not in the highlight moments, but in the silent battles only you know about. Discipline is another thing shaped by the grind. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't want to do it. And the grind demands discipline every single day. It demands you wake up on time. It demands you follow your routine. It demands you stay focused when distractions tempt you. It demands you stick to the plan when your emotions want to drift. The grind builds discipline because it forces you to repeat actions that aren't always fun, exciting, or enjoyable. You may not love the process, but the discipline becomes a habit. Over time, discipline becomes a thing that pushes you when motivation dies. It becomes a part of your identity. You become someone who follows through, someone who works without inspiration. Most people struggle with discipline because they want everything to feel good. They want the journey to be smooth. They want the results without the repetition, but the grind destroys that mindset. It teaches you that discipline is non-negotiable. If you want greatness, it shows you that discipline is the foundation of every achievement, every skill, every dream. Show every dream. You can't grow without it. You can't win without it. You can't evolve without it. And the grind is a training ground where discipline is strengthened every day. When you consistently put yourself through the grind, you transform. Not just physically, not just mentally, but spiritually. You develop a sense of pride in your effort. You develop confidence in your ability to endure. You become someone you trust, someone you respect, someone you believe in. because you've seen what you can do under pressure. You've seen what you can do when things aren't easy. You've proven to yourself that you don't break, that you don't fold, that you don't run. This is why the grind is essential. It shapes you in ways comfort never can. It builds character by testing your integrity. It builds resilience by pushing you past your limits. It builds discipline by requiring repetition and commitment. And every day you commit to the grind, you become stronger, sharper, and more unstoppable than you were the day before. Your habits define your future more than your goals do, because goals are moments of intention, but habits are patterns of action. Anyone can write down a goal. Anyone can dream of a better life. Anyone can say they want to be successful, healthy, disciplined, focused, or wealthy. But none of that has power unless it is backed up by daily behaviors that support that vision. Habits are the small things you do repeatedly, often without thinking, and they shape your identity far more than the big statements you make about what you want. Your life is built on what you do consistently, not what you talk about occasionally. This is why people with great goals but weak habits always remain stuck. Their dreams are big, but their patterns are small. A goal is like a destination on a map, but your habits are the steps that carry you toward it. You can set the perfect destination, but if you're not walking every day, you'll never arrive. Habits turn direction into movement. They turn promises into progress. They turn ideas into achievements. Your habits are the real evidence of what you are committed to. You can tell yourself you want to get stronger, but if your habits don't include training, discipline, and rest, that goal means nothing. You can say you want to start a business, but if your habits don't include planning, learning, and execution, the dream remains a fantasy. Habits expose the truth because they reflect your real priorities, not your imagined ones. Good habits build you quietly. You don't notice the change at first, but it's happening. Every small decision adds up. Every repetition strengthens you. Every day you execute, you move closer to the person you want to be. That's the power of habits. They compound. A single day of discipline seems small, but weeks of discipline create momentum. Months of discipline create transformation. Years of discipline create mastery. People often underestimate what they can achieve with slow, steady improvement because they're too focused on dramatic overnight change. But real success is a product of consistent habits performed so frequently that they become part of who you are. Bad habits also compound, but in the opposite direction. They slowly pull you away from your potential. They drain your time. They weaken your discipline. They distract your focus. They keep you comfortable while your dreams starve. A bad habit doesn't ruin your life in a day. It ruins your life by stealing a little bit of your progress every single day, until one day you look up and realize how far away you are from where you wanted to be. This is why being careless with habits is dangerous. They are silent builders or silent destroyers. The future you want requires habits that match the lifestyle you're trying to create. If you want excellence, you need excellent habits. If you want growth, you need growth habits. If you want discipline, you need disciplined routines. If your habits and your goals aren't aligned, then one of them must change. And usually it's the habits that need to be rebuilt. Changing habits takes time, but it's worth it because your habits shape your identity. When you consistently act a certain way, you become that kind of person. When you study daily, you become knowledgeable. When you train daily, you become stronger. When you grind daily, you become unstoppable. Habits create identity, and identity drives behavior. Once you become the kind of person who works hard, you don't have to force yourself to work hard. It becomes your nature. Once you become someone who respects their time, you naturally avoid distractions. Once you develop the identity of someone who follows through, consistency becomes automatic. This is why building the right habits is more important than setting the right goals. Goals motivate you temporarily, but habits shape you permanently. Goals can fade. Motivation can fade, but habits continue working even when you're tired, stressed, or unmotivated. They carry you through the days when your emotions are weak. They protect your progress. They keep you grounded. They make sure that even on your worst days, you're still moving forward. A person with strong habits will always outperform a person with strong goals and weak discipline. Your habits are your real future. They predict where you're heading more accurately than your dreams, your intentions, or your words. If you want to change your life, start by changing what you repeatedly do. Build habits that reflect your goals, and your goals will eventually become your reality. Grind, even when you don't feel motivated, because motivation is temporary, unpredictable, and emotional. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days you wake up with fire in your chest, ready to conquer everything in front of you. Other days you wake up and feel nothing, no spark, no push, no excitement. If your success depends on motivation, then your success will always be inconsistent. You will make progress only on the days you will feel like it, and those days are rare. But when you learn to grind without motivation, when you learn to move without feeling inspired, you tap into a different level of discipline that most people never reach. The truth is that motivation is not required to get things done. What is required is commitment. You don't become great by waiting for the perfect emotional state. You become great by showing up consistently, especially on the days you least want to. The days when you are tired, stressed, irritated, bored, overwhelmed, those are the days that define you. Anyone can work hard when they feel good. Anyone can grind when they're excited. But champions are built on the days they don't feel like working, but work anyway. Champions are forged in discomfort, not convenience. When you ignore your feelings and push forward, you build real discipline. You teach your mind that your purpose is stronger than your emotions. You rewire your brain to act even when motivation is absent. Every time you push through resistance, you strengthen your mental toughness. You prove to yourself that you can rely on you, and that self-trust is priceless. It becomes the foundation of everything you build in life, because now you know you won't quit just because the feelings change. Grinding without motivation also creates momentum. The more you show up, the easier it becomes to keep showing up. When you stop waiting for motivation, you stop making excuses. You stop delaying your dreams. You stop putting things off. And suddenly, you start moving faster than you've ever moved before. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum creates results, and results create confidence. But that cycle only starts when you learn to act without waiting for emotional permission. People who depend on motivation often find themselves stuck, frustrated, and confused. They wonder why others are achieving more, even though they have the same amount of talent. They wonder why things move so slowly for them. But the reason is simple. They only work when they feel inspired, while others work regardless of how they feel. The difference isn't ability, it's discipline. The ones who succeed are not always the most gifted. They're the ones who refuse to let their emotions control their grind. Grinding without motivation also teaches you to love the process. First, it feels difficult, but eventually you begin to value the discipline itself. You begin to take pride in your consistency. You begin to enjoy knowing that you're working when others are sleeping. You begin to appreciate the quiet power of showing up. You start to realize that greatness lives in routine, not excitement. And the more you commit to the process, the more the results start showing up automatically. You become someone who doesn't wait for conditions to be perfect. You make progress under any conditions. There will always be days when your energy is low, days when life feels heavy, days when you question everything, days when you want to rest, hide, procrastinate, or escape. But those days are tests. They separate the ones who dream from the ones who achieve. They separate the talkers from the doers. They separate the interested from the committed. If you grind only when motivated, you will never reach your full potential. But if you grind even when unmotivated, you become unstoppable. Every breakthrough you want is on the other side of showing up on your worst days. Every next level requires you to push through discomfort. Every transformation is born from discipline, not emotion. The grind doesn't ask you how you feel. It asks you how committed you are. And when you answer with action instead of excuses, you unlock a version of yourself you never knew existed. Because once you learn to grind without motivation, you become someone who can't be stopped by anything. Not tiredness, not stress, not fear, not failure, not doubt. You become someone who moves regardless of circumstances. Someone who grows regardless of obstacles. Someone who wins regardless of feelings. Grinding without motivation is what separates average from elite. And the moment you commit to doing it, everything in your life begins to shift. Success comes from doing what others won't for as long as it takes, because most people are unwilling to pay the price required to achieve anything meaningful. They want quick wins, instant results, and easy paths. They look for shortcuts, excuses, and comfort. But the reality is that greatness is not found in convenience. It is forged in persistence, sacrifice, and relentless action. Those who achieve extraordinary results do so because they consistently do what the majority avoids. They embrace the hard work, the long hours, the repeated failures, the obstacles, and the challenges that others refuse to face. They understand that doing what others won't is the separator between mediocrity and excellence. When you commit to doing what others won't, you automatically position yourself ahead of the competition. While others are sleeping, distracted, or procrastinating, you are grinding. While others are complaining about circumstances, you are creating opportunity. While others quit at the first sign of difficulty, you push through adversity. This is the invisible work that nobody sees, but that eventually produces visible results. Doing what others won't requires patience, determination, and a mindset that values long-term outcomes over short-term comfort. It's not glamorous, it's not always enjoyable, but it is necessary. The people who are willing to endure what others avoid are the ones who achieve what others dream about. Doing what others won't also requires consistency over time. It's not a single act of effort that creates success. It's repetition, daily dedication, and persistent commitment. Most people give up after a week, a month, or even a year, expecting instant results. They underestimate the time and effort required to build something great. But those who succeed understand that the grind is a marathon, not a sprint. They know that doing what others want every single day builds momentum, skill, resilience, and confidence. They understand that small sacrifices repeated consistently compound into massive results over time. That's the difference between those who talk about success and those who live it. Doing what others want also separates the ordinary from the extraordinary because it requires mental toughness. Most people avoid discomfort, delay action, and escape challenges. But champions embrace challenges, confront discomfort, and attack problems relentlessly. When you choose to do what others avoid, you train your mind to endure setbacks, overcome fear, and remain disciplined under pressure. Each time you push through when others quit, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. Your confidence grows, your skill improves, and your ability to handle greater responsibility increases. This mental edge becomes a competitive advantage that most people will never develop because they refuse to face what's hard. Sacrifice is also a key part of doing what others won't. Sacrifice of time, energy, comfort, and leisure is required because success demands it. While others are enjoying temporary pleasures, you are investing in your future. While others are distracted by entertainment, gossip, or procrastination, you are learning, practicing, and improving. The sacrifices may feel heavy at times, but they are the currency of achievement. Every hour, every effort, every moment of discomfort you endure multiplies into results that others cannot match. Those willing to pay the price are the ones who earn what others only dream about. Doing what others won't also create self-reliance and independence. When you consistently act while others hesitate, you stop depending on luck, timing, or external approval. You learn to trust yourself, your abilities, and your judgment. You learn that your results are determined by your commitment, not by circumstances or the opinions of others. This mindset creates a sense of ownership and accountability, which in turn drives even more effort and results. When you rely on your own work ethic and your own consistency, you become unstoppable. Finally, doing what others want builds a legacy. It leaves a mark that can't be ignored. While ordinary people fade into mediocrity, those who consistently do the hard work, who endure the long nights, who persist through setbacks, who sacrifice for their vision, leave proof of their effort in the form of results, influence, and achievement. Doing what others want isn't easy, but it's the path to greatness, distinction, and impact. And the moment you commit to that path, you align yourself with success, resilience, and transformation that lasts far beyond temporary motivation, fleeting trends, or superficial recognition. Your grind is your identity, Let your work speak for you, because actions are the truest reflection of who you are. Words are cheap, intentions are fragile, and promises are meaningless without follow-through. People can say whatever they want about their goals, their dreams, or their ambitions, but if their actions don't match their words, it reveals the truth. Their commitment is shallow. The grind, the consistent effort, the daily sacrifice, the relentless pursuit of your purpose doesn't lie. It shows the world, and most importantly, shows yourself what you truly value. When you make the grind your identity, when you live by it every day, it becomes more than a habit. It becomes a declaration. A declaration that you are someone who works, someone who perseveres, someone who refuses to settle for mediocrity. Your grind communicates dedication without needing explanation. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to post it on social media. You will not have to post it on social media. You don't have to convince anyone of your ambition. People see results. People see progress. People see improvement. And through that visibility, your identity is naturally established. The person who grinds consistently is recognized, respected, and trusted, not because of what they say, but because of what they do. Your actions carry more weight than any speech, any plan, or any goal you set on paper. This is why letting your grind define you is powerful. It creates credibility, influence, and respect without forcing it. Your results, consistency, and effort make the statement for you. When your grind is your identity, you begin to measure yourself not by external validation, but by your own commitment and execution. You stop seeking approval, recognition, or applause, because your value is already proven through your effort. You define yourself by what you do in the quiet moments when no one is watching. You define yourself by the hours you invest, the sacrifices you make, the challenges you overcome. That internal standard becomes unshakable. No one can question your work ethic, your determination, or your dedication because it's visible in your actions. You built a reputation that doesn't depend on hype. It depends on relentless effort. Your grind also becomes your legacy. When you consistently act in alignment with your goals, you leave proof of your dedication that cannot be ignored. People remember the results, the consistency, the resilience, and the way you showed up even when it was hard. That is the lasting impression of identity built through work. It communicates that you are someone serious, someone reliable, someone committed to mastery. And when others see you living this way, it inspires them, challenges them, and motivates them to elevate themselves. Your grind doesn't just define you, it affects the world around you. The grind shaping your identity also strengthens your self-discipline. When you commit to showing up every day, even on the days you don't feel like it, you reinforce a sense of purpose and consistency that defines your character. It's no longer about motivation or luck. It's about who you have become. The person who grinds even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's challenging, has developed an identity rooted in persistence and accountability. That identity becomes automatic. You no longer question whether you will show up. It's simply what you do. It's who you are. Your identity through grind also protects your vision. Goals can be stolen. Circumstances can change. People can doubt you, but your work ethic, your habits, and your commitment are yours alone. The grind solidifies your connection to your purpose because it ensures that even when challenges arise, you continue to act in alignment with your vision. It's an armor against distraction, procrastination, and discouragement. When your grind is your identity, quitting is not an option. Excuses are irrelevant. Hesitation becomes unnatural because you have conditioned yourself to act regardless of how you feel, regardless of setbacks, regardless of fear. Furthermore, when your grind defines you, it becomes a standard that others recognize. It inspires confidence and trust in relationships, partnerships, and teams. People know that when you commit, you execute. They know that when you set a target, you move relentlessly toward it. That reputation can open doors, create opportunity, and amplify your influence because people naturally respect those who act with consistency, integrity, and determination. Identity through grind is both personal and public. It shapes your internal sense of self while communicating a clear message to the world. This is who I am. This is what I represent. This is the standard I live by. The grind as identity also drives self-growth. Each time you show up, each time you push through, Each time you overcome resistance, you reinforce your capability and expand your potential. The next level requires a stronger version of you shaped by the grind. Because growth never comes from staying comfortable. Every time you want to rise, every time you want to achieve more, every time you want to reach a higher standard, you are required to become someone capable of handling it. You cannot step into success with the same mindset, habits, and effort that kept you where you are. The next level demands transformation, and transformation comes through the grind. It comes from pushing yourself past your limits, facing your weaknesses, and intentionally developing the skills, discipline, and resilience required to operate at a higher standard. The person who reaches the next level is not simply lucky or talented. They are the person who refused to stay the same while waiting for opportunities. They intentionally built themselves into someone capable of handling the demands of success. The grind is the tool that shapes this stronger version of yourself. Every late night, every early morning, every time you choose to work while others rest, you are building a foundation for the next level. The next level isn't just about external results, it's about internal growth. It's about developing patience, focus, discipline, and confidence. The next level requires endurance, and endurance is not taught, it's forged through repeated effort under pressure. You are transformed through the very process of pushing yourself beyond what you thought was possible. This is why the grind is non-negotiable. The next level will not wait for you to feel ready. You must prepare yourself through persistent, disciplined action. To reach the next level, you must embrace discomfort. Growth never comes from ease. It comes from doing what's difficult, facing what scares you, and consistently taking steps that stretch your limits. When you refuse to shy away from the hard work, you are sculpting a stronger version of yourself that the next level requires. Each challenge you endure becomes a lesson. Each struggle you overcome becomes a skill. And each sacrifice you make becomes part of the strength that propels you forward. The next level does not accommodate weakness. It demands preparation, resilience, and relentless effort. And that preparation comes exclusively from the grind. The stronger version of you is built by consistent habits. Daily actions, even small ones, compound over time to create extraordinary change. It is not about one massive effort or an occasional display of excellence. It is about repeated effort, unbroken focus, and unwavering commitment. Every habit you form, every discipline you maintain, every time you push past resistance, you are expanding the limits of what you can handle. The next level isn't reached in a single leap. It is reached by becoming incrementally stronger, more capable, and more resilient than you were yesterday. The grind ensures that when opportunity arrives, you are not only ready, but overqualified to handle it. Your mindset must also evolve to reach the next level. Mental strength, clarity, and vision are all developed through the grind. When you challenge yourself daily, when you refuse to quit, when you persist despite setbacks, you teach your mind that limitations are temporary and that effort produces results. The stronger version of you is someone who refuses to be shaken by adversity, who sees obstacles as opportunities, and who consistently acts with purpose. The grind shapes not only your physical and practical abilities, but also your mental and emotional resilience. The qualities that determine whether you can thrive when you reach higher levels of responsibility, influence, and challenge. Sacrifice is another essential part of becoming the stronger version of you. Reaching the next level often requires giving up comfort, leisure, and temporary pleasure in exchange for long-term gain. The grind demands that you prioritize your growth over immediate satisfaction. Each time you choose effort over ease, each time you stay committed when others quit, you strengthen the version of yourself capable of operating at the next level. Those who avoid sacrifice remain stagnant. Those who embrace it become unstoppable. The stronger version of you is not born. It is built through consistent investment of time, energy, and focus into the very actions that most people avoid. The next level also requires accountability, and the grind instills this quality. By consistently showing up, pushing yourself, and measuring your progress, you learn to own your outcomes. You stop blaming circumstances, other people, or luck. You take full responsibility for your growth and results. This accountability, reinforced through the grind, ensures that when higher challenges arrive, you can handle them with confidence. You have become someone reliable, disciplined, and prepared to meet the demands of success. Ultimately, the next level cannot exist without transformation, and transformation cannot exist without grind. Every obstacle you face, every resistance you overcome, every disciplined action you take contributes to the stronger version of yourself. The next level is not given. It is earned by becoming the person capable of sustaining and thriving at that level. Your grind is the workshop where you build that version of yourself day by day, effort by effort, decision by decision, until you are ready to step into the life, responsibilities, and opportunities that await you. The stronger version of you is not a possibility, it is a requirement. And the grind is the only path to it. If you grind like you want it, you will get it, period. Because there is no substitute for relentless effort. Talent, luck, opportunity, or timing can help, but without consistent, intentional work, they will never carry you to the level you dream about. Grinding like you want it means approaching every task, every challenge, and every opportunity with unwavering commitment, treating your goals as non-negotiable. It means refusing to settle for excuses, distractions, or half-hearted attempts. The level of intensity and persistence you put into your grind directly determines the results you will achieve. If you act like your goals matter, if you treat them with seriousness and urgency, the outcomes will eventually reflect that commitment. There is no bypassing this law. Effort produces results, and the quality of your grind dictates the quality of your results. Grinding like you want it also requires total focus and elimination of distractions. Every time you allow yourself to be pulled away by unimportant tasks, procrastination, or comfort, you delay the progress you desire. Those who achieve their goals are not necessarily the smartest or most gifted. They are the most disciplined, the most focused, and the most willing to sacrifice what others indulge in. The grind demands prioritization. It requires you to protect your time and energy for what truly matters. By consistently directing effort toward the actions that produce results, you create a compounding effect. Small daily decisions made with intensity and purpose accumulate into significant transformation over time. Consistency in grinding like you want it is critical. It is not enough to work hard sporadically or when you feel like it. Motivation is fleeting, emotions are unreliable, and circumstances will not always be ideal. Real success is built on the days when you grind despite fatigue, frustration, or doubt. Every time you show up when others quit, every time you push when others pause, every time you choose effort over comfort, you reinforce your trajectory towards success. This level of dedication separates those who achieve from those who dream. It turns intention into reality and potential into tangible results. Grinding like you want it also involves embracing discomfort and overcoming resistance. The path to success is never smooth. Obstacles, failures, setbacks, and criticism are inevitable. Those who succeed do not avoid these challenges. They confront them head on. Each obstacle becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, smarter, and more capable. The grind teaches perseverance, resilience, and problem solving. Every time you refuse to quit, every time you persist despite pain, doubt, or adversity, you reinforce a mental toughness that becomes a defining trait of your identity. This is why consistent, wholehearted effort is non-negotiable. The next level of achievement will Sacrifice is another essential aspect of grinding like you want it. To achieve meaningful goals, you must be willing to trade temporary pleasure for long-term gain. This might mean sacrificing sleep, leisure, comfort, or convenience While others prioritize entertainment or ease, you prioritize preparation, practice, and growth. Sacrifice is not punishment, it is investment. Each moment you dedicate to your goals, each choice to endure discomfort, each repetition and effort compounds into results that those unwilling to sacrifice cannot achieve. Grinding like you want it requires understanding that the short-term discomfort of effort is the currency that buys the long-term rewards you desire. Grinding like you want it also strengthens self-discipline. It trains you to follow through, to act with integrity, and to maintain commitment regardless of circumstances. Discipline becomes internalized as a habit and a part of your identity. You no longer depend on fleeting emotions or external validation to push you forward. Your grind becomes automatic. The person who grinds like they want it is not swayed by doubt, fear, or obstacles. They act consistently, purposefully, and strategically. This is what separates high achievers from everyone else. They have internalized the principles of effort and consistency so deeply that it guides their actions even when motivation wanes. Ultimately, if you grind like you want it, results are inevitable. The universe responds to effort, persistence, and deliberate action. Talent without grind is wasted potential. Dreams without grind remain fantasies. But when you commit fully, when you act as if your life depends on it, when you push harder, longer, and smarter than anyone else, success is not a question. It is a certainty. Your grind determines your outcome. Your level of commitment shapes your reality. There is no luck, no magic, and no substitute. Grind with intensity, focus, and discipline, and you will get exactly what you are willing to work for.